What is up, bros? I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Caleb.
And we're a couple of bros on a mission to give you guys the most detailed movie reviews out there with as little bias as possible. Welcome to the All Bros. This week on the podcast, we'll be talking about a weekly watch. Since we've been gone for a couple weeks, you'd think that we would have a lot to discuss with movie watching, but we do not.
No, I've been watching a lot more shows than
Same.
movies.
Like I started my second watch through of The Office, and that's literally what I've been focusing my watchability time, whatever, on. That's literally where all of it's going.
Yeah, all my streaming, at least lately. So I watched the new live action Avatar series on Netflix. I did not hate it. I have an interesting relationship with it because it's like I knew going in that it was not going to be as good as the animated. Like you have to go in with that mindset that it's not going to be as good. Yeah. And it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination. But I did like some of the changes that they made. Some of them were odd, but others were okay.
Okay.
So I mean, I overall I enjoyed it. What's funny is someone compared it to there's an episode on season 3 of the Last Airbender series where they are watching basically a play of their adventures. And yeah, and it's super cheesy and it's like super overdone, and the characters are like, I'm not like that, even though there's like those hints of those characters in those. And then they while they're walking out, they're just like, that show is horrible, and they're like, well, I didn't hate it. And then someone's like, at least the effects were good. And I'm like, dude, that's exactly how it was. Like initially I was like, I don't know if I like this. And then I finished it and I was like, okay, I didn't hate it. And then I was like, but the effects were pretty bitchin'. So yeah, there was a lot of changes that were made, but a lot of good ones too.
Okay.
So I'm interested. I will be watching season 2 and 3, but I am on the fence. Like they are walking a very fine line. Like it's mess up one big thing and I'm done.
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah, so that actually sparked me rewatching the entire series again, the animated one.
But it didn't get you to revisit Shyamalan's version.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I could go the entire rest of my life without watching that.
That is peak cinema. That is what.
You're out of your mind.
I know I am.
But anyway, I know we typically don't talk about like series and stuff that we watch, but felt like we had to.
No, it's fair. So we'll be talking about that, and then after that we will move on to our headliner of the evening, which will be our breakdown of The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Hell yes.
So yeah. All right, Caleb, what do you say we get started?
Let's do it.
Need motivation? Angry Dad Podcast. Trying to jumpstart your life? Angry Dad Podcast. You want help getting off the couch? Angry Dad Podcast. You need a verbal kick in the ass? Angry Dad Podcast. You want to hear from somebody who's been through it all? Angry Dad Podcast. I am here for you. You can find me on all podcast platforms.
All right, so getting into our weekly watches, what we've literally watched for the past 3 weeks, like I said, not much. I literally have one thing. Because, like I said, the only thing that I've really been watching is The Office. That's literally what most of my time has gone to. Because I kind of needed a comedy show right now just to help with some stuff that's going on. So
I think everyone has a comfort show. Like
usually mine's usually Superstore, which I just finished like my 4th time fourth watch through, and I figured I've only watched The Office once through, so why not? Let's start a second watch through, and I'm glad I did because I'm enjoying it as much as I did the first time.
Oh, Superstore is great.
Right. Oh, I love that show so much. That is my all-time favorite show. And I offended my sister when I said that because for the longest time it used to be Friends, and that was both of our favorite shows. But I'm sorry, Superstore. That is my goat. That is my show.
Fair enough.
Um,
I can get into Friends as hard as you did.
it's not for everyone. I know a lot. What ruins it a lot for people is the laugh track, and I can understand that. Because like I'll even admit like the laugh track ruins like The Big Bang Theory. So
I think the laugh track needs to slowly disappear.
agreed.
Sitcoms, I don't know. Sitcoms work like a little bit, but they wouldn't be nearly as funny without the laugh track.
True.
Like it's basically telling you when you need to laugh.
Excuse me. Yes.
I can't stand that shit.
It's like, no, I decide when I laugh at a joke.
Like,
And if
I
it's
determine when it's funny, not you.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But so getting past shows, movies. The only one that I watched, and this was like probably like 2 weeks ago. I watched The Florida Project because because this movie came out back in 2017. And it's one of, I think, A24's like earliest movies before like they like hit it big as a independent studio. And honestly, I'm really glad that I finally watched it. It reminds you a lot of being a kid. And honestly, from what I went through growing up, I could relate to it a lot for what this little girl and her friends go through. Because like a quick just rundown of the story. It's about a little girl who is living with her mom in a motel, and Willem Dafoe is the manager of the motel, and you basically the whole movie is just showcasing her, I guess her adventures with her friends, while also showcasing the relationship she has with her mom and what her mom is going through with trying to make ends meet for them. And the ending is like really depressing. Like I honestly started tearing up. But also the ending ends so abruptly. Like I had to think on it for a little bit. It made sense how it ends, like from a kid's perspective, but just it ends so abruptly that like it kind of took me back for a minute. I'm like, okay, oh shit, we're just ending like that. All right. But no, really, really good movie. I had a really good time with it. When the movie first begins, the little kids, because they 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 go to like the top floor of the motel and they start spitting on this lady's car, and she walks out to, I think, to have a cigarette, and she sees the spit coming down and she yells up, she's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing that? Where's your mom? And they just start yelling at her, you're not the boss of me, bitch, like yada yada yada. I'm like, damn, like you know what, this is definitely kids, like I get it, but like I'm gonna be fully honest. Like the first 20 minutes, I'm like, these kids are little shits. I do not like them at all.
Dude, I don't understand how kids can say. I know this is because of how I was raised, but just like even now, the thought of speaking to an adult like that fills me with such anxiety. Because I know the second like I even like got close to, if I was talking to an adult and they interpreted my tone as giving them attitude, I knew if they went and told my parents, I knew I was going to get my ass beat.
See, what Caleb just said just proves that he did not grow up in California. Because So yeah, the hotel is like right next to it's either Disneyland. Um and yeah, just hearing you say all that, like, yeah, dude, especially in like the like area that they were in, it doesn't surprise me at all. Like growing up in California as a little kid, experiencing like these kind of areas and being in their predicament that they were, I'm not like the mouth that was on these kids, not surprised at all. I had that mouth.
Yeah, fair. Like, don't get me wrong. I knew what cussing was. I was not brave enough to do it until like junior high, and then even then, I would like whisper it.
I want to point this out. No, yeah, because okay, so even after high school, Caleb was not a fan of the F word. He hated the F word. I had to do so much convincing to get him to go see 22 Jump Street because, like, for anyone that's seen that movie, it is like F this, F that. It took so much convincing to get him
It
to go
did.
see that. Like, it was insane.
Rose saw that I was in a stronghold of a shelter, and he came in with a freaking wrecking ball and is like, guess what we're watching. So yeah, now it doesn't bother me like hearing it nearly as much because now I understand that it's just a word. Uh, my upbringing was fun, to say the least.
But I helped him definitely understand what joys cursing can bring.
I know.
I'm not even gonna say
I never
it.
even
That sounds like
realized.
kind of like effed up saying that.
No, it's crazy. Like if you're against anything like, and this could be cussing, it can be, I don't know, like freaking nudity or violence, horror. If you're turned off to any of that in any capacity, you're missing out on great cinema.
Yeah, no, like seriously.
Like I think that's ultimately what I discovered, or what you helped me discover with that, is I appreciate comedies. Like, listen, I still don't like to hear the F word, but I'm fine with it because if I was totally against hearing that, I would miss out on so many great movies.
Yeah.
And me being like as like as big of a fan of movies. I mean, hell, we have a freaking movie podcast. Like I don't know if I would have been able to appreciate cinema as much as I do now. And it's all because I've learned to let my feelings about that shit go. But yeah, I was, like I said, my upbringing, it was, I would get in like to kind of tell you how things went in my household. I would get in trouble for shit other kids did.
God, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Like if there was a kid acting up, I remember getting whacked. I'm like, if you ever act like that, I'm like, are you shitting me?
Dude, that's some bullshit.
I know. It's funny to laugh about now because
Yeah.
I'm just like, how ridiculous is it that I got freaking whacked because of some kid being a little punk? That is so messed up. And then even if I'd like kind of like, I wouldn't even like mouth off. I'd just be like, and then I'd whack, like, you don't talk to me like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh shit. But as for the Florida project, I would give it a stream it. And like, so like I've noticed people in like our comments, like when we post this stuff on social media, they'll be like, "Oh, you talked this movie so much up, but you gave it a stream it." And I think Caleb pointed out in the comments where we when it comes to our grading system, it's how you should enjoy the movie when it comes to watching it. And so while you should absolutely watch the Florida Project, it is one of A24's best movies. I feel with certain A24 movies, you don't need to see them in the theaters. This is one that you don't really like. Maybe if you're like dying to go see every A24 movie on the big screen, sure, go see this on a $5 Tuesday. Completely get that. But this is one of those A24 films that's like, you know what? You don't need to, there's like nothing that you need to see on the big screen. The story's still great, the characters are still great. But it's okay if you just watch it on your TV at home. There's nothing wrong with that. So,
Is this one that you feel could have been like an Oscar nomination?
absolutely. And was actually, I'm curious if it was. If it was nominated for
This is
anything.
what I have to say about movies like that, where it feels like it could have gone to the Oscars and gotten nominated for something, is very, very few Oscar-winning movies I feel need to be seen on the big screen.
That's fair. It only
The big
received
ones
one
are
Oscar
anything,
nomination.
yeah,
Sorry.
anything that go or anything that needs to be seen in theaters would have to be up for a nomination in like special effects or something.
That's fair. Like if you're looking at the like the nominees for Best Picture from this year's Oscars, one that comes to mind that you have to see on the big screen, Oppenheimer.
Yep.
Like come on, you have to see the atomic bomb go off on the biggest screen possible.
Yeah. I would even say with Barbie too, but that's just because the production, like the sets looked incredible.
Oh God, don't get me started with how bad Barbie was snubbed at the Oscars this year.
Oh man.
Oh God, it pisses me off so much.
Whew. Dude, I think what irritated me, this whole Oscar season pissed me off. I think what got me though was Robert Downey winning. Like, I think he definitely deserves to win an Oscar. For Oppenheimer, that's bullshit.
Yeah, I think him winning for that is kind of the same way a lot of people felt with Leonardo DiCaprio with The Revenant. Like, it wasn't his best performance, but the Academy finally realized, okay, you know what, we better give this guy an Oscar finally. And I'm sure that's how the Academy felt this year with RDJ.
That's dumb.
Cillian Murphy, though, I feel he deserved best actor. Like Paul Giamatti, I would have loved it if it went to him, but oh my, Cillian Murphy was just remarkable as Oppenheimer.
I've seen Cillian Murphy in better, and I think that should have gone to Paul. I don't think I've seen anything as great as Paul Giamatti's acting. Like with the other movies, like nothing holds a candle to how well he acted in The Holdovers.
No, that's fair. Like honestly, I was gonna be happy if either of them won. Like if neither of them won, I would have been pretty mad.
Yeah,
but the fact that Cillian won, I'm happy. If Paul would have won, I would have been happy. So
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was it for you, right?
Yep, that's it for me.
Okay, so in anticipation of Kung Fu Panda 4, that is, I think that's out already, or it's coming out soon.
Yeah,
okay.
It came out last Friday.
Yeah, so my daughter's seen the trailers for this, or for Kung Fu Panda 4, and she wants to go see it. And I told, damn mosquitoes. So I told her that if we are going to go see Kung Fu Panda 4, we have to watch all of the Kung Fu Panda movies. And she's like, totally, let's do it. And so we just finished this one today. So yeah, rewinding a bit, I also haven't watched very many movies. All of the movies that I've seen or that are on my weekly watch today are ones that I watched yesterday and today.
You just suck.
Yeah, because I've been in the process of, or for those of you that pay attention to shit like that, I am in a new studio space. me and my wife, we moved into a house. We also had a new kid, so we have a new assistant editor until I think of a better title for him. Yeah, so we got a new kid, new house, new studio, a little bit new everything. So that's why I haven't been watching very many movies and been watching the shows. So yeah, we finished Kung Fu Panda today. It holds up extremely well. I find it hilarious. I can't wait. Like, this just makes me excited to see Ian McShane's character come back in Kung Fu Panda 4. I hope they don't freaking like snub his character though. Like, I hope he's in it for a decent chunk.
Who was in?
He was the bad guy.
Oh,
What, you didn't like him?
no. I'm saying I'm doing that reaction for his part
his
in Kung
role.
Fu Panda 4.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert, dude.
I hope he has a bigger role than. I don't know. I think I'm setting my expectations a bit too high. But
yeah, I just from what I've seen, I might lower them a little bit because everyone that I've seen says the fourth one is the worst out of the series. But I mean, you might be different because freaking, I don't know if you saw the box office, but it had the best opening it had the best opening since the first.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, Kung Fu Panda 4 had an amazing opening.
I love these movies. So that's a little disappointing to hear. But anyway, we'll see. Anyway, this movie holds up. I'm giving this a stream it because I don't know if it has the like big screen like theatrical value anymore. But this is still a really fun one to sit down and watch. I had a great time with all the jokes, and I still like could almost quote this movie.
Excuse me.
Like, even though I haven't seen it in years. And I think that's mainly due to Jack Black and his portrayal of this character. But yeah, so I'm excited to re-explore these. So you guys can probably expect 2 and 3 to be on my next weekly watch. The next movie
coming after that soon.
Yeah, the next movie that I watched is another one that my daughter wanted to watch. She wanted to watch the Chocolate Movie. So we rewatched Wonka, and I gotta say, it holds up amazingly well. Like, I enjoyed the streaming experience probably as much as I enjoyed the theatrical. And it was able to keep my daughter's attention, which was surprising to me.
That's awesome there.
Yeah, so she freaking loved it. Like, all of the freaking songs. Like, even the one that I disliked, the Scrub one. Like, she went, like, she ran off and into her room and came back with like some of her dirty clothes and was like doing the scrubbing motion and everything, like,
Oh
while
my
they were
God,
singing
that
that
is
song.
adorable.
I know, right? So yeah, I think we ended up giving this one a full price, and I'm standing by that. I would absolutely pay to see this in theaters again. I would even go for a sing-along version.
Oh, dude, I would too.
Yeah. So this put me on a Wonka kick. So I ended up watching the OG Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And I haven't seen this movie since I was 12 or 13 years old. And so a lot of those jokes went over my head, and I caught every single one that I missed. And I got to say, this movie is freaking hilarious. It holds up extremely well. Like, I can't think of a single thing that doesn't hold up. Like, even some of like their special effects held up really well. Like, I'm thinking when what's his name, Mike or something like that,
Mike
gets shrunk. Yeah, when he gets shrunk down on the TV, I thought that looked great. So I was super impressed with that. And
I really want to ask, because I've been thinking about this since honestly Wonka came to Blu-ray. I want to ask the director of Wonka if Wonka is supposed to kind of be like a little bit of a loose prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Like, if you're wanting to like maybe try to keep it as close to the original as possible, or at least as much as you can, I want to know why he made the Oompa Loompa so small, like, and not as big as they are in the original.
well, I think he kind of addressed that in
He
saying
did.
that, yeah, because he said he is shorter than the other Oompa Loompas. Like
I
he's one
mean
of the short ones.
that's true, but like even like looking at how like the group shots that we see of them as he's
Yeah, they are
leaving,
very small.
like like I mean I'm just nitpicking here, but like for as close, like, because like they look exactly as they do in the original, so like why aren't they the same height, or at least
I
more
don't know
close to?
if that size would have worked for the visual stuff that they were going for with that size of or with that type of Oompa Loompa.
That's fair.
Like I think if it was any bigger, it would have felt weird.
All right, fair enough.
At least like with in terms of like I'm just thinking like when he has his little briefcase and he's like in his little like reclining chair and everything. I don't know if that would have hit with a normal sized Oompa Loompa.
That's true. All right, fair enough.
But I mean, I think they did the best that they could, especially like you said, a very loose adaptation.
Hmm.
Like I highly doubted that even before I went in, I didn't think I knew it was going to be like somewhat related, but I figured that there was going to be some sort of detachment. And I mean, if all we're really complaining about is the size of the Oompa Loompas, like it's not bad.
That's true. Although ask oh my god, who played the Oompa Loompa again?
Hugh Grant.
Yeah, literally ask him literally anything about Wonka. He will lead it into, oh, I hated playing the Oompa Loompa so much just because the motion capture. That is him in every single
Like, then
interview.
why'd you do it?
Because he
Like,
has kids to feed. I think that's actually what he said. Is he?
you're telling me Hugh Grant is hurting for money?
I don't know.
That seems like bullshit. Okay. Anyway, I am also giving this movie a full price ticket recommendation because I think it is just as good as Wonka.
Oh, dude, I wish I could have. They need to do like a Fathom Events presentation of this movie because I would love to see this on the big screen.
Dude, they did one at my theater and I freaking missed it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like I always find out like anytime I like those throwback ones, they don't put like I'll go at the end of the month to watch whatever I need to, and then I skip a week, and then I'll come and like watch whatever movie it is we need to watch, and then I'll see their throwbacks, and it like they'll have like the 4 throwbacks, and I always miss the one that I wanted to see out of those 4.
Damn.
Like without fail, it's always been one that I'm like, ooh, I'd go see that, and then like I'll check the list, and I've missed it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
they're
gosh damn it.
I think last month to celebrate I think like the 85th anniversary of it, they did the Wizard of Oz, and I'm kicking myself for not being able to
Oh,
see that on the big screen.
I would love to see that on the big screen.
Right? That would have been so freaking cool.
Yeah. Gosh, I need to figure out which theater because my go-to is AMC. And so I've been debating whether it's worth continuing to go to that AMC or to go to the theater that's a little bit closer.
Mm.
Like it's honestly like a few minute difference, but just because I still have like all the rewards from AMC. So it's
Gotcha.
just like, do I want to like, and I also kind of want to pay for the like eventually once I get a hold of like how much I'm paying for this house. I also want to get a feel for how it would be to pay for the gold membership because you get 3 free movies a week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm like, that's almost worth the few extra minutes. Plus, you get discounts on your concessions and you don't have to pay the online fees and all that good stuff. Like, there's a lot of good benefits to AMC. I just
So it's
want them to
kind of
put one
like
a little closer.
so it's basically like Cinemark just plus 2 free movies. Because with Cinemark you just get one free, or you get one ticket every time your membership renews per month.
Per
So
month.
yeah,
Yeah, so you get 3 per week.
yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and you can use those in any like theatrical experience. So you can use that on like an IMAX. So like if your AMC has an IMAX,
Yeah,
so you can use that for an IMAX ticket and not have to pay anything extra.
yeah. I mean, Cinemark has kind of that too. Well, not kind of, they do. Because yeah, it will count towards that, and like you get 20% off concessions, waived online fees. But yeah, it seems like AMC is definitely has some more perks that makes it worth it more.
Yeah. So like I said, I might continue going to that AMC. I'll just have to be very like particular about when I go.
Oh, I get that.
But I mean,
Cool.
we'll see. I'll check out like I've been doing some cross referencing with like some other theaters just to see if there's any other like theaters that offer something similar.
Mhm.
Obviously, I doubt it's going to be like 3 free movies, but I'll see.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's all I've watched this week.
All right. All right. Well, so that wraps up weekly watches. So, Caleb, what do you say we get into our headliner of the evening?
I say, let's do it.
All right. So, before we get into our breakdown of the Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Caleb, you want to let people know how we break down movies on this podcast?
I would love to. So, if you are new to our breakdown system, we have split movies into 8 different categories that we individually score to come to a final All Bros letter grade. The 8 categories that we score are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we give it our own personal score at the very end. All of those numbers get magically added up and spit through our algorithm and give us a letter grade to compare this movie to others of a similar grade. So if you have not seen The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, we are about to spoil the entire freaking thing for you in our favorite segment that we like to call Reading with Rose. So if you listen beyond this point and anything is spoiled for you, it is your own damn fault. So we will be posting that spoiler warning now. So you have been properly warned. So without further ado, Rose, would you like to take it away?
Absolutely. In dystopian, war-ravaged Panem, Snow family patriarch General Crassus, dies in the first rebellion between the capital and 13 districts. Years later, Crassus' son Coriolanus is one of the 24 Academy students selected to mentor a 10th annual Hunger Games tribute. Coriolanus hopes for the Plinth Prize scholarship to restore his family's prosperity. Games creator and Academy Dean Casca Highbottom advises the mentors to focus on entertainment rather than tributes winning. Coriolanus' wealthy friend and fellow mentor, Sejanus Plinth, resents the game's cruelty. Coriolanus is assigned District 12's female tribute, Lucy Gray Baird. Is it Baird or Bird? I can't remember.
I think it was Baird.
It was Baird? Okay.
Yeah.
During the reaping ceremony, she engages Capitol viewers by slipping a snake down the dress of Mayor Lip's daughter, Mayfair, then defiantly singing. Coriolanus earns Lucy Gray's trust, accompanying her to the Capitol Zoo, where tributes are publicly caged. Another mentor, Arachne Crane, taunts her tribute, who kills her. Coriolanus promotes Lucy Gray to Capitol citizens, to Highbottom's displeasure, as he paired Coriolanus with the District 12 tribute to fail. Or is that fall? No, that's fail. Excuse me. Oh my god. Coriolanus proposes a sponsorship scheme to head game maker Dr. Volumnia Gow. To increase ratings, Capitol viewers can momentarily support tributes. Coriolanus' academic partner Clemencia Davacote claims credit for their proposal. Gal places the proposal paper into a tank of genetically modified snakes that attack only unfamiliar scents. When Clemencia is forced to retrieve it, the snakes bite and seemingly kill her, confirming Coriolanus' sole authorship. While touring the arena, rebel bombs explode, killing several tributes and mentors. After Lucy Gray saves Coriolanus from debris, he gives her rat poison as a weapon and says she can hide in a bombed hole in the arena floor. In the initial bloodbath, Lucy Gray enters the hole with fellow District 12 tribute Jessup. Jessup. Oh God. Sejanus sneaks into the arena and mourns his fallen tribute and friend Marcus. Gaul persuades Coriolanus to retrieve Sejanus. A tribute attacks them, but Coriolanus kills him. The president's son, Felix Ravenstill, dies from injuries sustained in the bombing. As revenge, Gaul releases the snakes into the arena, killing every remaining tribute but Lucy Gray. Earlier, Coriolanus secretly put a handkerchief bearing her scent into the tank. Caving to public pressure, Gao declares Lucy Gray the victor. Later, Highbottom confronts Coriolanus with the handkerchief and the rat poison, sentencing him to 20 years peacekeeper service. Coriolanus bribes an officer to transfer him to District 12, and Sejanus volunteers to join him. In District 12, Coriolanus and Sejanus visit a bar where Lucy Gray performs with the Covey, a formerly nomadic band. Coriolanus and Lucy reunite. Shortly after, Coriolanus is to transfer for officer training in District 2. Meanwhile, Sejanus becomes involved with the rebels. Coriolanus confronts Sejanus and records his admission using a Jabberjay, sending it to Gaul. Coriolanus later finds Sejanus meeting with rebels Spruce, Lucy Gray's ex-boyfriend Billy Taup, and Mayfair, Billy's new girlfriend. In the ensuing confrontation, Coriolanus fatally shoots Mayfair and Spruce kills Billy. Spruce hides the guns, but he and Sejanus are hanged for treason. Lucy Gray and Coriolanus flee north. Lucy Gray knows he killed 2 people, but he accidentally reveals a third, Sejanus, raising her suspicions. At a small cabin, Coriolanus finds the hidden weapons tying him to Mayfair's murder. Lucy Gray, distrusting Coriolanus, knowing she could incriminate him, disappears into the woods. Coriolanus, pursuing her, is bitten and disoriented by a snake she laid as a trap. He blindly shoots his rifle after Jabberjays mimic her voice, but her fate is left unknown. Coriolanus dumps the guns into the lake near the cabin. With no remaining witnesses, he returns to District 12. Rather than District 2, Coriolanus is sent to the capital, where Gao reveals she procured him a pardon and a scholarship to the Capital University. Sejanus' parents, unaware Coriolanus caused their son's death, make him their heir. Highbottom tells Coriolanus he never intended the games to become a reality. He drunkenly conceived the idea, but his friend, Crassus Snow, submitted it as their joint academic project. Highbottom abhorred the violence it caused and never forgave Crassus, turning to morphine and mistreating Coriolanus because he hated his father, blaming him for ensuring the game's continued cruelty. Coriolanus slips poison into Highbottom's morphine vial, killing him and beginning his rise to power.
Oh man, dude, there was a lot going on in this movie.
There was. I will say it's very interesting watching, because in like the Katniss era and the original Hunger Games movies, it's like how far are they into it? Like,
So in Catching Fire, it was the 75th.
okay, so it's crazy to go from that all the way back to the 10th annual Hunger Games, and just seeing like how different they were back then. Like the fact that what the tributes wore on Reaping Day, that's the exact same thing that they wear when they enter the arena for the Hunger Games. Like they don't all get matching outfits. None of that. Literally, what you wore, that's what you die in, or that's what you fight in.
Yeah, well, it seems like the turnover was a lot quicker in the early days of the games, because it's like they
That is
bring
true.
them, they throw them in the cage to be the spectacle, and then like they are shown off on TV as like basically zoo animals, and then they're thrown in the games within the week.
Yeah.
Which I don't know the timeline that the original, like by the time they get to Katniss, I don't know what the timeline is when they do that. That also felt like it was quick. So maybe
It
just like
did.
they improved upon that and made it seem like it was longer.
I feel with this prequel, I cared more about like the actual like what was going on with Panem, Snow, like the actual like getting the Hunger Games to where they were when Katniss entered the picture, more than the actual games. Like when we're put into the arena and like you see the tributes fighting and everything, like still, that's still interesting to watch. But like I will admit I wasn't as captivated as I was in the Hunger Games, in both the first one and Catching Fire. Um, I don't know, just it seemed that, I mean, considering that in the Katniss era, it's you're in the 70s when it comes to Hunger Games count, so you can definitely tell that they've gotten a handle on how to be a spectacle, how to get people to watch, and I really like that in this one they're trying to figure that out. Like Viola Davis's character listens to Snow, and he's just like, uh, you want people to root for them, you want them to be a spectacle. Let's have the people of the Capitol be able to give people in the arena presents or gifts. And I like that they were still trying to tweak that with like how bad the droids were. And like literally nothing would actually like literally the droids would kill tributes for freaking how hard supplies were coming at them. Like, geez,
Dude, the
like, holy
first time a
shit.
freaking drone came in and they're just like came and freaking bushwhacked someone, I was like, good hell.
Yeah.
They need to
It's a good
freaking
thing.
iron that out a bit.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they decided to go with parachutes. That
With like a
was
tiny little fan to direct.
yeah.
Like, good
That was a
call.
yeah.
Those drones didn't work for shit. Like,
No,
because
they did
I
not.
think it just goes to show, like, what I liked about that is you got to see the building blocks of what the games turned into.
Yes.
Because I mean, at least the way that they described it, it wasn't even like a spectacle. There was no, it was, I think it was televised, but it wasn't like there wasn't a host.
Yeah, like even Flickerman, like usually they only like last a day, so he had to literally call his hotel, be like, "Oh, this is actually going longer than we expected, so I'll still be there tonight, but just a lot later."
Yeah.
So it's definitely clear that the Hunger Games used to not even last a whole day.
Yeah. So I bet it was just a week where they were like on display and then they were immediately thrown into the cage and then they like went and killed each other. And so people stopped, obviously people stopped watching because they're just like, this is just cruel. and then Snow comes in, and like I loved how he's just like his justification for everything, like his reasonings. I always wondered, like, why do they put on this show for people for tributes that are just going to end up dying? And now it makes sense, like why that's the case.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, it's so you get invested, so you like they made it more and more personal. And I love like seeing those, like I said, those building blocks to what the games are. And so all these little like questions I had in the back of my mind about like why they do certain things within the games, like this movie made those make sense. And
No,
like, okay,
absolutely.
now I got you.
Yeah.
Like now I understand like how it turned into what it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love like seeing that. I love being able to like explore that side of stories that I'm already familiar with. And I think this did it better a little bit more than like the Fantastic Beasts movie did.
I agree.
Because it's just like, okay, so you're telling us a story about something that was like basically a throwaway. It might as well have been a throwaway line in the first Harry Potter movie versus giving us something like I would have almost preferred to see a story of the three brothers in
Oh
live
yeah.
action. Like that would have been sick.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, or just something along those lines. Just something else to care about.
Yeah.
And I think this did a really good job at that.
It really did. And I think what I really appreciate is that they brought back the same director from that did Catching Fire and both Mockingjays, Francis Lawrence. Because nothing against the first Hunger Games, like I still really enjoy that, but like the whole shaky cam, that like it's sometimes hard to watch.
It is
And
very hard to watch. I actually recently rewatched the first one, and it was rough.
yeah. So when they brought Francis Lawrence in for Catching Fire, you definitely you can tell like from the get-go that he understands this world. He loves being able to build it, I feel, from the ground up, especially in this one. So I am very grateful that they brought him back for the prequel.
Yeah. I've frequently thought about this, like what type of storytelling I prefer. Like if I were to get my hands on a project, like would I want to be like creating the world or or an expansion? And I think I would much rather work on expansions, like how this was. Like I love the idea of like going back in time with certain things, especially in a situation like this. Going back in time is so interesting. And it's just like, okay, how do we get from this point to this point?
Hmm.
And I think I much prefer to tell those types of stories because I don't think I'm too creative in creating something from scratch that makes any logical sense. But I think I'm good at building on stuff.
Yeah. No. I would honestly say I feel the same way.
Yeah, but I loved all the like this is a movie I don't know if you could watch and appreciate as deeply if you hadn't seen the original 3 Hunger Games
Agreed.
or 4. Yeah, 4.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been 3. They didn't really need to split Mockingjay into 2 parts, but whatever.
Yeah, not really. Not when you really get down into it.
Yeah. I've said this from the very beginning. The only, because I mean, it's what they did for all young adult novels when it came to the last book. They had to split it into 2 parts. And I feel, even though like the first part is a little slow, the only one that warranted it was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
Very much so.
That is the only one. Twilight didn't need it. The Hunger Games didn't need it.
I will say Harry Potter, I think you could have cut out a lot of fluff from the second one, I want to say. Or no, I want to say part 2. Part 2, I think you could have cut out a little bit of fluff.
That's fair.
I think that the Deathly Hollows would have worked better as like a 4-hour movie. Maybe like 4.5. Because
Fair.
and I think that the same thing with Mockingjay. I think
Yeah.
that could have been very easily turned into just a 3-hour movie.
Oh yeah, hands down.
But this one, the structure that when I saw that they were going to split this up into quote unquote parts, I was like, I don't know if I dig that, but I appreciate that they did. It made it a little easier to like follow along. Like, okay, this is what this story is leading into. This is what this one, and it felt like almost 3 like little micro movies.
Yeah, it did.
And I actually really liked that.
Yeah.
So I mean, the pacing was good. I thought once the Hunger Games were done, I was like, okay, like why should we care? And then they almost immediately get you on board with like why you should.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. Like I'm here for it. Like I'm ready for this part. Yeah. And it was funny. Brielle was kind of watching with me a little bit. She was like off in the kitchen doing something, so she'd kind of come in sporadically. So I don't really think she had a sense of time that was going on. So when when the Hunger Games ended, she's just like, so is he like president now? Like it seems like he's getting banished. Like how the hell is he going to the president? And I'd like look over at her and I'm like, well, maybe the next hour of this movie will tell me, love of my life. And she's like, oh, didn't even realize the movie wasn't done yet.
Oh shit.
And I think that is maybe a fault I will put on the movie, is that they do kind of make it the end of the games feel like the conclusion.
Yeah, I can definitely give you that.
But they get you back on board pretty quick. So I will give them some grace for that.
Yeah.
Overall, what do you think of the story, though?
Overall, like solid story. It makes sense for a prequel to the Hunger Games, and I had a good time with the story. So if my God damn it, if my screen wants to work, that'd be nice. Like dead serious. There it is. So story. I'd say I'm probably like at an 86.
That is actually exactly where I was too.
Hell yeah. Look at that.
All right, next up we got writing.
Writing was pretty good here too. I will say
it's pretty on par.
The only, I don't know, maybe it's how she's been in real, and this has nothing to do with the acting. It's the writing of the, like she's fine in acting. I don't know. I did not really love the character of Lucy Gray. Like she was just all right.
Dude, that absolutely had to do with how she's been now.
Yeah, okay. Like Snow, the writing for Snow was great. Like love that character, and even especially Sejanus. I think that's his name, right?
Was it the friend?
Yeah. Loved his writing. He was great. And freaking dude, my mouth dropped when he got hanged.
Dude,
I was not expecting that.
In cinema, hangings are already like really intense ways to off someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Throw in the freaking last word Mockingjay shit.
Yeah.
That is something else.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when I saw that, I had a hard time watching that. I was like, God, oh, that does not fill me with the warm fuzzies.
Yeah. The only hanging that it's probably gonna sound effed up to say that I enjoyed watching, and you don't even actually see him hang, was Como Driscoll in Red Dead 2. Like that actually like put a smile on my face watching him finally hang, because when he sees his two people on the ground being held at gunpoint by Sadie and Dutch, and then freaking he looks up above and Arthur's just waving at him like, hey, how's it going, buddy? Just and the fear in his face, like, I don't know, that shit just puts a smile on my face. But that's the only hanging that like I'm genuinely like didn't feel like any empathy for the person. In this one, like I said, my mouth just dropped when those floorboards caved in. That would
Yeah.
And the fact that they don't cut away from it, they don't like cut to their feet. No, they straight up show that shit.
Yeah.
And
I don't
gotta
like
give this movie balls for that.
I think what helped with like the intensity of those scenes is that it wasn't an up close, like you see them drop and die. Like it's a background thing.
Yeah.
I think like they make it so nonchalant, and I'm like, whoa, damn.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what helped sell the intensity, and then the freaking or it wasn't Mockingbird, the Jabberjays, like that did not help at all.
No, it did not. And like,
But
yeah, them echoing Sejanus, like shouting for his mom, shouting for Coriolanus, like that oh god, that was hard to listen to.
yeah, and I love that this kind of like had the origins of the Hanging Tree song.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was that was awesome.
Yeah, when she was singing it like the first time, I was like, that kind of doesn't sound like an original song. And then they tied it into like that dude's hanging, and I was like, oh snap.
Yeah.
And then she just kept like adding to it. So I'm like, okay, this is freaking, that was solid writing.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think dialogue wise, I would probably put this below story. Not like a ton. Like I think I'd be down near 80, but I think with a lot of the things that they did to tie it into the Katniss saga, I'd say I think that bumps it up a bit for me, but I think ultimately I'm still a little bit below. So I think I'm going to be at an 84 when it comes to writing.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to match you. Be the same.
All right, next up we got acting. So going through this list, we got Tom Blythe, who played Coriolanus Snow. You should have just called him Cornelius.
Yeah, seriously. Like, for real.
Yeah, so Tom, is that Blythe, or I think it'd be Blith. Tom Blith, Coriolanus Snow.
You got me, man.
Yeah. Then you got Rachel Zegler, who plays Lucy Gray Baird. Then you have Josh Andres Rivera, who plays Sejanus Plinth. Was he in Shazam?
No, I think so him and Rachel Zegler, I think, are dating, or they're close friends, and so that's why he was at the premiere of it.
I was gonna say, like, I don't remember him.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but yeah, when I got that picture, it led into, oh hey, this is what's the relationship between her and him. I'm like, okay, all right, that makes sense.
Okay, cool. Then Viola Davis played Dr. Volumnia Gall. Then we have Peter Dinklage, who played Dean Casca Highbottom.
I think that's all I had. Oh, sorry.
Yep. And you forgot to delete Amy Schumer.
My bad. Oops.
Anyway, what's your top three look like?
Top. Damn, that's really hard.
It is very tough.
Like, because all of them, except for a certain person, might just be because of things that have happened with her that I just didn't love her performance. Number 3, just because okay, honorable mention I'm going to give to Peter Dinklage, because I wish that he was in it more.
I do too. I think his role could have been way more interesting.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And yeah, just like the fact that he's the one with Snow's dad that came up with the idea for the Hunger Games. Like, why would you not want to go into more depth with that?
Yeah, I would have loved to see that touched upon more.
Yeah. But number 3, I would give to Josh on Andre Rivera, played Sejanus. I really enjoyed his character. Loved his relationship with Snow. And honestly, it was really sad when Snow betrayed him, and literally recorded his him being with the rebels, and he was hung for it. And just yeah, it's really sad because like he really wanted to make a difference, and it's really sad that what happened to him. But his performance was great. Number 2, I would give to Viola Davis. She was amazing, but she's amazing in everything, and especially in this role that she gets to like act like kind of a little crazy as being game maker. You could tell that she had so much fun with this role, and it truly shows. She was great every single time that she was on screen, and would have loved more from her, but what we get from her, it makes sense, and absolutely loved her in it. But number 1, I got to give to Tom Blythe, whatever, who played Coriolanus Snow. I feel he adds a lot of depth to the character of Snow, comparing to how he ends up in Katniss's era to where we see him begin here. Just seeing him trying to make sure that his family's name still stays in good grace with the capital, and just his arc throughout this movie is just so interesting, and he does such a great job. So I would give Tom number 1. So that's my top 3.
Dude, I already thought that Snow was a really interesting character. So the fact that he was able to take someone that I already really liked and make him even deeper of a character, it is an undertaking. So it was fantastic. So yeah, I really liked him, but I am actually going to give him number 2.
Okay.
My number 1, I'm giving to Viola Davis. I thought she dominated her role as this doctor, and just the level of unhinged that she was able to pull off was just fantastic, and I loved every second that she was on screen. Like she was she was hard to look at, and I was just like, and I think that just added to like the intensity of her character, because I'm just like, don't make eye contact with the crazy lady. Yeah, so I freaking loved her. Yeah, number 1 or number 2, I'm going to give to Tom Blythe. Number 3, on the other hand, I think I'm going to give to Rachel Zegler, as much as I hate to admit it. This was tough. She was walking a very fine line of being unlikable and charming. When she was kind of acting like she had like ulterior motives, so like telling Snow to own it in the thing, and basically like giving him the ideas to make them spectacles, and like it's like basically like save my ass. she came off as very unlikable. And then during the times that she was supposed to like charm the capital, like I think she pulled that off really well. And then the times where she was being hunted down and was like afraid, I thought she pulled that off really well too. There's a lot that she pulled off well, and a few things that she pulled off that weren't quite as good. It's a strange line to walk, because I was trying to set my bias aside because I don't like her.
Yeah.
But I think she gave a pretty solid performance. Like it's definitely not the best I've seen her in. It was a little bit more like wishy-washy. But I think she did good overall. But I would agree. I would give my honorable mention to Josh Rivera. He came off just a bit too whiny for me.
That's fair.
And then Peter Dinklage too. Like he's one that he didn't make my top 3 because I would have liked to see more of his character, and I think that they kind of wasted the potential with him.
Yeah, they really did.
So yeah. Anyway, where are you sitting with acting?
I think acting. I think I'll just be slightly above my story, had an 88.
Yeah. I'm not quite 88 levels. I think I might go 1 point higher than my story, sitting at an 87.
Fair enough.
All right, next up we got character development, which we're kind of doing this off of a villain. So this is kind of one of those negative arc situations. And I think this is where the movie freaking excelled.
Agreed.
Yeah, seeing where Snow was going, it was odd to find his motivations. Like, was he motivated by love? Was it seemed like he was motivated by like reputation and money.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until he got called to grab Sejanus out of the arena that it felt like he was after more. Like, I feel like you could almost like feel that shift in his character after that situation. So I found that to be really intriguing about him.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And obviously he's on kind of like a downfall, and everyone's kind of like, I wouldn't say like afraid of him, but he just has this level of intimidation. And what I really liked, and I don't like, is you remember how Tigress and him were talking about his father?
Mm-hmm.
And how she was saying that like his father just had something in the, like, you could see it in his eyes, that his soul was just filled with hate. And just that little comment at the end of the movie when he's like, how do I look? And he's like, you look just like your father. And I'm like, like, I thought that was such like a baller line.
Yeah, no, that was great. It's so crazy to think, like, just looking at who Tigress is in this movie to what she becomes in the Katniss era. It's just crazy to think about.
Yeah, it's uncomfy for sure.
Yeah, very much so.
I don't know. Like, did they ever establish that she was his cousin? Or
I can't remember if
cousin,
they did. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they did actually. It kind of, because like honestly, I don't even remember Snow being mentioned Or like when they like mentioned Tigris, I don't even remember Snow being mentioned.
I know. I thought Tigress was just a designer in the capital.
Yeah, just
And
someone
then
there to
she
help
just kind
Cinna.
of like went super crazy with the body modifications.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess apparently Suzanne Collins had a lot more to say about her character.
Yeah. That like hers would be another interesting story to follow. Like,
Yeah.
how do you get to that point?
Yeah.
Character development wise, this is one that I think I am in the 80s or 90s for.
Fair.
Even like I said, even though this is a negative arc, I do think that they pulled it off really well, and you get to see some of those key moments that shift his character quite drastically.
Yeah.
So somewhere between a 92 and a 93. So I think I'm going to give it a 92.
I'm just going to be slightly below you at a 90. It definitely does crack 90 for sure. Easily.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got effects.
I feel that these are super solid. I mean, I think I didn't really care so much about, like, don't get me wrong, the actual games, those looked great. But I think I enjoyed more so looking at how Panem looked back then, like the capital, compared to how it looked in Katniss's era. Because like here, it doesn't look depressing or anything, but just like it's so interesting to look at the differences.
It almost
like,
had like that 40s, 50s style era.
Yeah, it did. I mean, this doesn't have anything to do with effects, but I really like how much they focus on the capital in this one, because I feel like in the Katniss area you're really focused on the district. That's what they want you to. Whereas this one, they want you to get even more of a feel of how it is in the capital. And I honestly really appreciated that. That was a really cool thing to showcase.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like this kind of like the world that they set up. You know what it reminds me of is the Batman animated series, like how Gotham seemed.
Ooh, yeah.
Like where it honestly felt like there could have been like blimps in the sky, and that would have felt very natural to the world.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
And it just like I said, everything just kind of had that vibe. It was like almost a war torn animated or Batman animated series Gotham.
Yeah.
Like it was a crazy aesthetic, and I loved it. And like I said, you get to see some of the stepping stones to how the Hunger Games were versus where they go, and it's like seeing that it's just the stadium is just like a dinky ass little stage.
Yeah. And it also looks like they didn't get like jack shit worth of weapons laid out for them.
No, they got like freaking a net and like barely a trident.
Yeah.
A couple swords and stuff. So I mean, it was the freaking bare bones.
Yeah, like the actual arenas definitely didn't get their flair until much later.
Oh yeah. I mean, but visually, I wasn't super impressed with the special effects. Like the drones looked very out of place at times.
That's fair.
Like especially when you had like multiples coming in.
Oh yeah, like with the whole like water scene.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one I think might be a little bit not quite super low. This was PG-13, right?
Yes.
Okay. It felt like it with the level of gore that they were going for, but the violence, like the implied violence, was freaking wild.
Yeah.
Like when that one chick freaking went to hatchet that dude's head. I was like, oh,
Yeah, jeez.
dude, I I was laughing a little bit at that scene because me and Brielle were just kind of sitting there, and he's like looking up at her, and he's like, please, and then she goes and does that, and I'm like, what if he meant to like let me go?
Yes, dude, I thought the same thing. It's like it could be taken two ways: either put me out of my misery or get me down from here.
Yeah, it's just wait.
Oh.
Oh man, but yeah, I think the implied violence kind of helped with the like the I think it helped with the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Yeah, so I think effects, I'm going to give that maybe an 87. What do you think?
I think I might actually go one higher than you, just because I really I really liked how Pan Am looked, and just I feel that like even though the effects do have their problems, I appreciate for how far we've come with the Hunger Games effects from the first one to this one, and how like they don't have to do the shaky cam anymore to hide that it's PG-13 and they can't show that much blood, or it'll be turned into rated R. I do appreciate the what's the word, the skill that I think that they've kind of mastered, with still making it violent, but making sure that they're not approaching our territory with it.
I would love to see how close they got, because I feel like this dude like could give a master class in violence in terms of like the ratings.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I feel like that, like violence in particular and gore, that's a very fine line to walk.
this is true.
Like, if it almost feels like one thing could have flipped from PG-13 to R.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got music. This one was. What do you think? I
I
want to
don't
hear
like
your thoughts on it.
all the songs that Lucy Gray sings, like they're all right. Nothing really like stood out to me, but I have to admit, as many problems as I have with like not paying attention to Rachel Zegler as a person. I'm looking at just as her character in this movie and the voice that she has. The voice that she has to sing "Are You Coming to the Tree?" or just the Hanging Tree is so powerful, and I love it so much that when it comes to how it's portrayed in a movie, I do think Jennifer Lawrence's version is better because it makes more sense of how it's portrayed in Mockingjay. And I feel it's just portrayed better. But her vocals in this one for this specific song, I think I actually like better than Jennifer Lawrence's version.
Oh,
And
I do for sure.
right? And I don't know, she just does such a great job with this song, and the way that the song gets its like start. We get the origin story of the Hanging Tree song. It's really good. It's very well told. It's very captivating. And so while I didn't love all the other songs that Lucy Gray sang, like I could honestly really could care less. What we get for everything when it comes to the Hanging Tree song, I feel that brings me up.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Like her all of her other songs, like all the songs that she sang, kind of felt like they had the same tune. It was different lyrics, but it all felt like the same tune.
Yes.
Very few of them felt like they were different. Like there was multiple times where I thought, like, is she singing the same song? And she wasn't. Like it was a little bit different. Like I went back and checked,
Yeah.
but they held a tune like a very similar. And even though those were good, those did not hold a freaking candle to the Hanging Tree song.
Yeah.
And other than that, I wasn't super impressed with like the scores and whatnot. I mean, you have the classics like the Pan Am anthem, I
Yeah.
guess you'll call it. And those were all right. But I think that they could have done a little bit better, at least shifting the tune where it didn't feel so uniform. So music wise, I think I would be willing to give this an 8.
See, that's funny because I'm at a 7. I can't go that high.
Fair enough. All right, next up we got costumes. This was where the movie was a little weak.
I agree. Kind of what I brought up earlier with, like how much the Hunger Games have changed from here, this being the 10th annual Hunger Games, to Katniss's 74th. The fact that, in those, they all wear the same outfits, like all tributes get the same costume. I feel it really adds to it. It definitely makes the Hunger Games a little more exciting. Whereas in this one, literally all that they wear is exactly what they wore on Reaping Day in their districts. And so, like, I don't know, like seeing kit tributes just like in like formal wear, and that's what they're literally going to die in, is not as captivating as what they wore in the first Hunger Games, or especially Catching Fire. Like, God, like the outfits in Catching Fire were literally fire. I
know, and for all of the freaking districts too. Like they were all freaking killer outfits.
Yeah,
but they dropped the ball here really freaking hard.
They did, and the way that they explain where they are where they are when it comes to the Hunger Games, like where they stand, what it means, all that stuff. I understand why that they don't like try to like impress people with the tributes, so it makes sense why they literally wear the exact same shit that they wore on Reaping Day. So I'm not faulting it for that. It's just
my fault comes with the Capitol. Like I understand why maybe Snow didn't wear like things that were very eccentric, but everyone in the Capitol seemed to wear very bland clothing. And for where it's supposed to be like the rich hoity-toity people, the trendsetters and everything, like the Capitol where it is in Katniss's day versus where it is here, it feels very detached. And I feel like they should have dressed a little bit more eccentric to fit the tone better.
Yeah. Like honestly, it felt like the only thing that like made them feel like upper sophisticated was they buttoned up the complete top without like having like a tie or some shit like that.
Yeah, I know.
That's what made them a step above of the districts. So
yeah,
and it kind of looked dumb. I'm not gonna lie.
It did, and I actually really I prefer the like just talking to costumes. I prefer these Peacemaker uniforms versus the Hunger Games ones.
I absolutely agree. Those look way too freaking like RoboCop.
Yeah, dude, exactly what I was thinking. They're one black paint job away from being RoboCop.
Yeah, dude, like honestly, they look like OG RoboCop.
Yeah,
yeah,
like the helmet and everything. I'm like, that doesn't work. And I like the bluish gray over like undertones of like the outfit. It was simplistic but better.
Yeah, and I liked that you could still see their face.
Yep, I much prefer that. Makes them feel like they're not so freaking generic.
Yeah, I mean they're not supposed to be human, but it made the peacekeepers human.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a difficult one for me. Where are you sitting?
I mean, honestly, I'd probably say I'm probably at a 7. Honestly, same as my music. I would be at a 6, but I feel the Peacekeeper's costume would bring it up to a 7.
Yeah. I'll probably match you there. All right, last up, we got our own personal score.
All right, who's taking this one?
Who do you want to hear first?
Oh, I don't care. I'll let you decide.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was genuinely surprised by how much I enjoyed this movie. I think it did a lot of things right. I think it had enough of like Easter eggs and moments that tied into the original um I can't even say trilogy. It's three.
It's a
It should,
quadrilogy.
I know it should have been a freaking trilogy.
Yeah, it should have.
So I think it connected enough to the original movies and gave enough of like little hints in there, and you can see the building blocks of how it eventually got to that point. And I thought it was really interesting. The only parts that I feel I struggled with, it's just a minor pacing issue, is in between the points where the Hunger Games ended and where the next portion of the story began. Like I'd say it's maybe 5 to 10 minutes where you're just like, okay, what's going on? And then it gets into the next part of the story and you're like, okay, cool. And it had good pacing after that. But I enjoyed it. So much so that I would actually enjoy seeing a sequel to this. Like if they decide to do that somewhere down the line. So I think personal score, I'll probably give this an 82.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what else to add to Caleb's review. He literally summed it up perfectly. It's definitely one of the better prequels I've seen. I mean, honestly, most prequels aren't good. The only one coming to mind that actually I thoroughly enjoyed, no matter what people say, is Monsters University. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoy the hell out of Monsters University. But I feel that this definitely adds enough backstory to the Hunger Games, to Panem, to warrant its existence. And kind of what Caleb said, with a sequel, Suzanne Collins, I guess, get writing that, because I don't know if what's his name, Francis Lawrence, I think that's his name. Yeah, I don't know if he wants to just completely go off of his own ideas and not get with you to decide what they would want to do with the sequel.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm sick of fixing your universe.
I think that's why I enjoy the movies more. Is I hate that the Hunger Games are told in first person. I don't know what it is. I hate that they're told in first person.
Yeah,
Like
fair
go.
enough.
Suzanne Collins should have gone the Harry Potter route. Tell that shit in third person.
Yep.
That's how every book I feel should be written. I really hate first person books, unless they're like an autobiography or like based on real events. Then I'm okay with it. Like that makes sense. I get that. But like young adult novels, no, like third person. Come on.
Third person is the superior way to tell a good story, I feel.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. So, but yeah, I mean, if they did do sequels to this, I just hope that it wouldn't turn into what happened with Fantastic Beasts, and the 3 movies weren't warranted. But anyway, I had a good time with this. It's a great addition to the Hunger Games franchise, and it sits very nice with the first Catching Fire and Mockingjay. So honestly, I think I'm gonna actually match Caleb at an 82. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what else to add to Caleb's review. He literally summed it up perfectly. It's definitely one of the better prequels I've seen. I mean, honestly, most prequels aren't good. The only one coming to mind that actually I thoroughly enjoyed, no matter what people say, is Monsters University. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoy the hell out of Monsters University. But I feel that this definitely adds a, enough backstory to the Hunger Games, to Panem, to warrant its existence. And kind of what Caleb said, with a sequel, Suzanne Collins, I guess, get writing that, because I don't know if what's his name, Francis Lawrence, I think that's his name. Yeah, I don't know if he wants to just completely go off of his own ideas and not get with you to decide if what they would want to do with the sequel.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm sick of fixing your universe.
I think that's why I enjoy the movies more. Is I hate that the Hunger Games are told in first person. I don't know what it is. I hate that they're told in first person.
Yeah,
Like
fair enough.
Suzanne Collins should have gone the Harry Potter route. Tell that shit in third person.
Yeah.
That's how every book I feel should be written. I really hate first person books. Unless they're like an autobiography or like based on real events, then I'm okay with it. Like that makes sense. I get that. But like young adult novels, no, like third person. Come on.
Third person is the superior way to tell a good story, I feel.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. So, but yeah, I mean, if they did do sequels to this, I just hope that it wouldn't turn into what happened with Fantastic Beasts, and the 3 movies weren't warranted. But anyway, I had a good time with this. It's a great addition to the Hunger Games franchise, and it sits very nice with the first Catching Fire and Mockingjay. So honestly, I think I'm gonna actually match Caleb at an 82. Just had a really good time with this one.
All right, going through these scores real quick. Starting off with story, we ended up averaging out to an 86. Writing is sitting at an 84. Acting is sitting at an 87.5. Character development is the high point of this movie, sitting at a 91. The effects are back down where acting's at, sitting at an 87.5. The music is sitting at a 7 out of 10. The costumes are also sitting at a 7 out of 10. And our personal score ended up averaging out to an 82. So with that, the final All Bros letter grade for The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, has come out to a B.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. Actually a little higher than I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you.
All right.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's see where this ended up ranking. Okay, so The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is sitting at an 84.75. So that puts it at a B, like I said. So this is a pretty in the middle B. Like, let's see where it's sitting. So it is sitting at number 19 out of 45.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so that's 45 other B movies.
Gotcha.
All right, so do you want to go above or below first?
I think I want to hear the above.
Hear the above? All right. So at an 84.75, that puts it above The Matrix Resurrections.
All right, yeah, I'm totally cool with that.
It is above Christopher Robin.
I think I'm okay with that.
It's above Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that.
It is above Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay, that's gonna be a hard pill for me to swallow.
And it is above Blue Beetle.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. Going the opposite direction, it is sitting below Megan.
All right.
It is also below the remake of The Little Mermaid.
Okay.
It is sitting below The Lion King, also the remake, as well as Chicken Run
Oh, damn.
and 8 Crazy Nights.
Okay, wow. That was quite a list.
Yeah, it's a very interesting placement. And I'm not totally in disagreement.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Like I said, Age of Ultron, hard to swallow, but it's okay.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that we agree that it's above Spider-Man 3, but not Age of Ultron. But we do agree that Spider-Man 3 is better than Age of Ultron.
Yeah. That is very interesting.
Freaking love when that happens. Yeah, so that is where it's sitting.
All right, awesome. All right, well, unless you got anything else you want to say about I forgot for a second. I forgot what movie we just did. The Hunger Games, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's what we did. Well, if you guys like this episode and you want to check out more of our stuff, be sure to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We are basically everywhere. Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes podcast, all that stuff. If you want to check out our social media, where you can let us know what mini recs that you would like us to do, answer our questions of the week when we do them. You can find us at so it's at the All Bros on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, which TikTok is going away. That's what they're saying again. Yeah, apparently Congress actually voted to ban it in the US.
Dude, they got something else going on. They keep saying that about TikTok. That's bullshit.
Yeah,
Go
but
to hell.
I don't know. It seems like it will go forward this time. I could be wrong. We'll see. So if you can't
that's
watch
what they
our
said last time.
so if you can't watch our mini recs on TikTok anymore, you can catch them on Instagram.
Yeah, when I actually post them. I may just
I was gonna
walk
message you.
through.
You know what's funny is I was gonna message you during our break and be like, are you okay? Because you haven't posted any since Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. You good, man?
I know. I just got freaking swamped.
No, dude, I completely
No,
understand.
I may. We'll see. We'll see how well I adjust to the new everything. But this may be a job that I pawn off on you.
Okay, all right. That sounds good to me. Okay. So yeah. What else was I'm going through the script in my head.
Other than saying what we're doing next week.
Yeah. So yeah, next week we will be doing Ricky Stenicki. That's the name of it, right?
Yep.
So that's what we will be breaking down next week. So till then, this has been the All Bros Podcast. I am Jonathan.
And I'm Caleb.
And we will catch you guys next week. Deuces.
You asshole. I see ya.